Greetings, Marsh here, and welcome to episode 76 of my modded Factorio playthrough. On this episode, we need to complete our rail network here to Saphirite mining, and then we can test and see how the crushing and sorting works. Enjoy! Well, looks like we made it to Biter Island. Pretty much dead center. It's gonna be kind of problematic getting off the train to go shoot them. We'll just have to let the bots get us close. Ah. Do I have any fish? Let's just grab a small handful of them. That wasn't enough. I need more fish. Okay. So if you notice, I can kind of walk on medium deepness water. Well, that's through the canals mod, which basically gives you water fill to dig moats if necessary. And I haven't gotten to that point yet. That might be slightly more realistic than using just those underground pumps that just pump water from nowhere. So that's what I was thinking with that mod, but haven't quite gotten to using it yet. But that's kind of why I can walk through areas I shouldn't be able to, and kind of why the biters could as well. No, I'm out of power poles. Can't really build that many more. Well, time to back up. Well, could always continue forward. Just until the point where we run out of tracks. We can be slightly perfectionist about this. And then we can replace the non-bridge section with non-bridges. If we don't, strictly speaking, need to have them. And back to work. We're getting pretty close here. So I'm not entirely sure where to go from here, so we should probably build it from the other direction now. So time to back it up. Oh yes, we were going to fix this tin ingot thing here. Oh, well, it kind of fixed itself, but now we're short on copper. Well, imagine that. We completely ran out of all that copper we had stored. Well, it's still working properly, I guess, but having a bypass here would still be useful. Uh-oh. Full inventory. There we go. Just have to wait on the copper. Believe the factory is basically going at full blast. Pretty much every single machine's running at full except the rubite, which we just don't have the mining capacity for. So the factory is moving as quickly as it possibly can. Also, I noticed we got a flashing warning here that we're out of fuel here, which is not good. That's because we've been grabbing fuel from this depot and it has run out because we're not making fuel oil there. So we're going to have to move this depot up here. Well, we'll deal with that in a little bit. Let's take care of this mining depot first. Yeah, it's so hard to not hit anything. Got some unused miners here. They might come in handy later. Okay, we need to come in through here. These power poles are somewhat in the way. Okay, so the train will come in. This is as good a place as any to put the train, because then it can kind of turn around up here and then go back. It's going to have to kind of loop over itself a bit, but that'll be okay. Let's see, let's just Let's just fill this in. And we need a train station. We need the loading blueprint. Flip it the correct way. I see no reason why we can't use this direction. And let's place it... How about right there? We need some steel. One nice thing about the canals mod is it lets you drive cars through shallow water too. Just can't be the deep water right there. So it does make traversing the world slightly easier. And it seems pretty balanced because it makes you drive a lot slower when you're going over shallow water. So not even using the canals part of it, it's pretty neat. Unfortunately, the biters can walk over that too, so you have been warned. Let's get the train in here. Let's make it its full size. Let's see, and let's get the belts in here. I don't know what kind of output this thing has. One red belt's probably fairly accurate for what it's capable of. So let's just put one red belt going into this. And let's fill in that water. And we can split off of here. Let's give priority to the right because the base is currently running off of this side, so we don't want to steal that. We really want the extra to go towards the train. So let's see how this works, at least with a partial belt. Seems to be working pretty good. Let's get the color. All good. Let's match it with Saphirite. Oh, something like that. Copy it to the train station. And let's name the train station Saphirite Load. And then after it's loaded, it's got to turn around. Honestly, this probably isn't ideal, because the track's going to need to continue for Jivelite here, unless we got Jivelite elsewhere. Oh, we do. We've got a much bigger patch out there. This one's small, but has a lot of stuff in it. I'm going to leave it where it is, because that's a lot closer to where the processing is going to happen. So we're going to have Stereotype right there, Jivelite right there. Crotinium we probably won't even need a train for. And then Saphirite's right there. And then Rubite and Bobmodium I think are going to be right there. I don't know if there's any Bobmodium that's closer or better. Yeah, we're kind of short on both of those. So those will probably come in on trains. Maybe down in that way, or something like that. So for now, the train won't need to continue past here. I mean, another option is just to send the rail up this way and go above. So we have multiple rail options. We'll just have to play it by ear. But I don't want to move this. It's good enough where it is. So let's keep going straight. Until we're up with our section here. And we want this section of rail to match that one. And we'll drive that section in a little later. Just have to place all these wires and signals here. I notice this train definitely does not fit within the rail sections here. these diagonal sections. Might need to rework that diagonal design, or just not use them very much, because I definitely don't like using them. It doesn't really matter, it just means there's twice as many signals in this section as is strictly necessary. It'll still work just fine. It's really, I don't know if there's such a thing as too many signals. As long as they're the right signals, probably not. You're probably fine with as many signals as you want. So whatever. I'm not going to go through here and remove every single one of these just because it doesn't fit. Might be worth making sure it fits on the other sections though. But there they are. They're all placed. So we need to come in. Let's move forward. Let's make sure it fits on these other sections so I didn't mess up everything. It doesn't. I wonder how I messed that up. Did I have one card too few on the design? Well, that's going to have to be fixed. One thing at a time here. Let's change this to Saphirite unload. And let's disconnect these just so it's not sending everything down the pipe. Let's get that set up anyway. Looking good. So we kind of need to fix this design. Yeah, let's do it over here where there's some more clear space. So how in the world did this end up not being long enough? I don't know. That is a mystery to me. I don't know how I could have messed something like that up. Oh well. Let's fix it. At least not too much of the factory is built right now. This is a prime example of why you test everything in every possible way before you build any major constructions, because you got to know this stuff. Uh-oh. We got lots going on here. The biters are starting to get aggressive. Ah. That's annoying. That's got to be like the perfect blind spot. Yep. See, it's kind of hard to tell because the colors of everything, but this guy's got a blind spot. So see right there, the wall has a flaw. There is a blind spot. And he is going to eventually get through here. Sigh. I'm gonna have to go back there. It's actually not that far away, but let's get this taken care of first. There we go. Hopefully that fixes all of the problems. But we got a wall to fix. I don't want to rebuild all those turrets just because there's a tiny dead zone. Actually, if we get the next tier of turrets, they'll probably have a longer range and not have that dead zone anymore. There we go. Part of the problem is just this spawner that's right here. That's just spawning them straight down. Definitely going to need to do something about all of these biters. But for now, the wall's holding. I don't want to get too close to them. I don't have any fish on hand. Good enough. The wall is protected. Okay, so luckily these sections didn't get very far away, so fixing it should be fairly straightforward. Unfortunately, I did change a little bit with how the positioning is of everything. So let's remove all of the things that do actually move. Problem noticed already. This design does not include signals on both sides. Whoops, again. Well, the positioning of things did move a tiny bit, but I don't think we really need to bother with it. Because there's no lights or anything here either, so really the only thing we need to do is pick up every other rail signal. Then it's probably pretty close. Alright, we're lined up here. We don't need any rail signals for this bit because only one train's going to be on this last section, so it doesn't really matter. So now we need to try to line this up with the train station. And it's wrong, because of course it is. Man, you can't fault me for trying to get it the first time. Could have come from the other direction and gotten it right, but this is just how it worked out. So we're coming in from this direction. The train's good enough to work on automatic mode, at least it should. We'll find out if something's wrong. But we have Saphirite load, full cargo, Saphirite unload, empty cargo. Oh yeah. Another thing we need to do. Probably should have did it with the design. I guess we can copy this one. We need to limit this for the size of the train. So the train cars can only hold 4 stacks. So there's no point in having this have any more than 4 stacks. The unload will need the same limitation. But we'll get to that when the time comes. And that is plenty enough cargo to give this a shot. Okay, here we go. We test the magic and see if this all works. I mean, it's moving, so it probably will. Let's set this to manual. Well, it made it. Everything seems good. Now we can give all this a test. Can see most of things, but it might be better to wait until daytime just so it's more visually impressive. Well, if that's the case, in the meantime I can extend the tracks a little bit. Alright, sun's coming up. It's time for the test. Alright, the moment of truth. Does it all work? Mostly green, so looking good. This will clear out to be full belts once it's had enough time to run. Put a limiter to just that. System will clog by putting a limiter on that. Let's do 2 on there as well. So there go all the geodes. Seems pretty good. It's just taking a while for everything to get down there. It might help to have a balancer in line right here. Just to smooth things out a bit. Well, it seems like it's working. Let's see, well, since we know it works, we don't need to have that there anymore. Let's put the Saphirite back in the system. Seems pretty good. Let's do another test, and now that everything is good to go, let's do another 2 stacks of these. Probably we'll get through it very quickly now. Without creating a whole bunch of them, it's hard to tell. But it very much seems like it's working like it should. And if we really wanted to, we can do some down and dirty material production and actually take these chunks and just make some sorters and smelt them into aluminum or whatever we need, but there's no point in getting in a rush. We'll get there. There's nothing immediate that we actually need any extra resources for because we haven't been researching the unnecessary equipment. The only thing we're waiting on is aluminum for the rifle, but that's pretty low priority. So system works. We have all of our byproducts now. Let's just pick everything up and put it back into the system. That sulfur, however, we'll take that. We'll bring that back to the base. Okay, so we don't need this clarifier because this will be hooked up properly in the future. So these have been running but haven't been dumping mineralized water anywhere. Do we dump that here or somewhere else? Probably somewhere else. Let's see how much of it we're going to produce. 150 units per second. And what does that take to void? One clarifier. Okay, well, since we have one, I don't know if I want to send that halfway across the base just to clarify it. We might in the future, because we did unify the saline water, which was done here. But the problem is as the factory gets bigger and bigger, it gets harder and harder to handle all of it in some remote location. Better to handle it on site, if possible. Just avoids throughput issues. So it is necessary that we void out the sulfuric wastewater, and we're doing that because what happens if the factory has too much sulfur? We don't want to keep making more sulfur if we just don't need it. So if we don't need it, and all of the logic has turned off all the sulfur production, but we're still making too much, then, you know, we have to dump it. And that's a lot of water to be sending down the bus, so it's easier to dump it here. So we need to dump the sulfur, but we also need to be able to dump the mineralized water, which we can do kind of right here. It's going to be a little strange, but we can get it in here. And then let's grab overflow valve. And there we go. System is running again because it was totally clogged up on this mineralized water. This is why we test. Test, test, test. You do not want to build an entire factory full of these things just to find out they don't work, and then you'll have to fix every single machine or every single setup, and then you'll be like, oh no, I missed this one. Oh, I know I missed that one. But this is good. That's a lot of crushed stone. We can actually take that with us too. Let's just throw it in the truck. We'll eventually clear it out. Okay. Well, we have tested this whole thing and found out that it works. I believe we made a copy of it, but we made changes, so we need to make another copy of it. To right about there. And some elements of this will change. Let's get rid of that for now. We'll place the power poles last. And certainly those two sections don't need to be there. You know, we'll fix all the rail bits. We just want the majority of the settings to be correct. Even these undergrounds potentially might move, but we'll just leave them there. And there we go. So now it's time to put all this together and place a second one and see how it works. It's not going to work well, at least as far as the bots are concerned, because they only have a limited range. So we're going to have to do this section by section, but can easily line it up that way. So now we have to wonder, well, how far apart do we want these? It's like, well, we know the minimum, because this will fit, while this does not. But let's give it one extra space over, you know, just so there's room for belts to go through if they have to. Because this is really close. That means there's only one space. This gives us 3. It does connect the power lines, though, but that's okay. Let's do this, and then shift-click it into place. Then we'll have to do some landfill. And robots, go. And go. And go. And as far as this section here, we just need to put some landfill, but we already decided to put it right there, so we just keep it going. Quickly running out of it already. No, losing the sunlight. Oh, and then we just place it again. Hopefully it should click now because nothing's in the way. Yep. And now it's just a question of placing all this stuff down. Let's see, well, our fuel byproducts is filling up because we don't have any fuel for the drones. We need to fix that. Otherwise, it's doing a pretty good job. And plastic is building up. We are not consuming it nearly as fast as we're making it. If this completely fills up, I guess we'll have to just dump the mineralized water, but we'll wait until it gets to that point. I believe we have a delivery of sulfur. Look how anemically we're producing it now. We just instantly produce that by firing up the machines. Whoa. I wasn't really paying much attention walking around, but I guess the trains do run every once in a while. Well, the only thing we really need is this fuel depot, which we can pick up and leave everything else just kind of connected the way it is. I suppose we need to upgrade these train stations to the new style as well. We'll worry about that in a bit. Somewhere convenient, but it also doesn't really matter. Fortunately, those pipes are kind of in the way there. Let's reposition them. That should leave more space for the fuel depot. So that'll work. Let's put the 10 drones in there. And we need to hook it up to the fuel oil. There isn't a terribly convenient place to do this. Let's do it right there. There they go. And that should get back to normal. So yeah, we just need to keep an eye on this plastic. Still got quite a bit of room though. So we've got a ways to go before it fills up all the way. I need to clear all these trees out so it would be easier to drive. Or at least maybe make a highway. Don't have to clear all the trees out, just enough of them so I could easily drive on them. But one thing at a time. It's kind of hard building these larger setups when it gets really dark. Right, well, this needs to be filled in. worry about configuring and connecting all of these setups once they're all actually built. So there's the rails down there, they're lined up, and it looks like it's pretty lined up here, so click. And move it again. Guess I'll chop down some trees or whatever while we're waiting. Might as well keep busy while the robots are. I know all this stuff's gonna have to be cleared out for the sorters, so not wasted time. Gotta construct the couple of random items that we don't have on the bus or carry in our inventory. Let's see, gotta get all these connected as well. And that's the end of this episode. On the next one, we need to connect all of these different setups with belts and get it all completed. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.